and it is usually a lot of fun to be together. So having Grant and Marcel with us here, it is so encouraging. It is a lot of fun. It is a lot of warmth, and we feel excited. So Radiant started a year ago, and with the senior citizen, getting together, sharing what they have gone through over the many years, and sharing what they are doing right now, what they have been doing, what was their experience, what were the good times and the bad times, and encouraging each other to be strong, even at this time when they are at their sunset age. Senior citizen, they may be single women all through. They may be married women. They may be married and they are widowed. They are mothers with the grown-up children who have moved to their homes and they become empty nesters. And so loneliness comes to them. And we encourage each other that at whatever time you find yourself, life is still life as long as you are alive. And the Radiant motto is empowering women, radiating wellness. So the main thing here is taking care of ourselves, self-care, growing old gracefully, and making use of all that God did put in you when He created you, so that it is shared to the humanity. It encourages the other generations, but it is shared across the generations. So this is the motto of Radiant, and vision for Radiant is empowering women and girls across generations with wisdom in nurturing self-care and health living. So the motto comes is that you must have a health living, and to have that you have to do many things allowed you, like what you are doing here, learning new things, also giving out what you already learned, practicing your talents, eating well, eating healthy food, caring when you are deceased, and that you eat food. And when you get sick, you know how to seek help and to seek treatment. And then you care for your family, you care for your children, and all that wisdom you have got, you share it with them. And so our mission is to be the dedicated providers of comprehensive training and support programs that empower women through collaboration with professionals, empowering women and girls uh, to foster health living and promote self-care and the culture of growing old gracefully. So it is a lot of goodwill, of entrepreneurship that empowers women to grow old gracefully, to take care of themselves, to take care of each other, to take care of our environment. So Radiant has had activities there before. We do have digital meetings. I've said is the third Friday of the month. And on the digital meetings we have had, we have talked about repurposing ourselves. We have talked about digital use. We have talked about organic farming. We have talked about financial health, and that you take care of our little money, maybe our pension, our small businesses, and we should be able to be self-sustaining financially and in all many ways. Then we have had physical meetings. We had our first meeting at Kikuyu, and it was about trauma and how to navigate around it, and it was a challenge to us, and you need to follow it up. Then the second one, it was about still repurposing ourselves and being bold in whatever we are doing, in whatever areas we are in. We need to be strong, to be bold, and we will finish what God started in us with courage and strength. So it was a good time to have that. Then we had a retreat to Naivasha. We had 3 days out in Naivasha. We had a spiritual retreat. Then we visited the geothermal, and it was a nice day having the spa a whole day in the warm water, and even we wish to go back there again. So this is Radiant, and so far we are excited about it. And we have ladies who have been with us. Others have been watching on our chat, and I'm sure they keep on saying they want to come and join. So thank you for joining here. I can see still people are joining in. I can see Anne and 2 others. And maybe now we can give it to Mercy to start off our lesson today. We are so ready, Mercy. We are so grateful. Mercy has looked for us, and we are so grateful and humbled to be looked for. So, Mercy, karibu sana. We are blessed to have you. And when you girls come to our generation, you feel like you have gone back a few years, and then you can see yourself when you are at that age, when you are doing things, you can run up and down, take care of your children, take them out, go to functions, go to work, and there are a lot of energy. And we are glad to see you and to reflect that. And this is where you are going. Karibu sana, Mercy. So you introduce yourself so that I don't miss many things of who you are. I already know a few, but let's hear it from you. Karibu sana, Mercy.
Asante. Thank you very much, Margaret, for the invite and for karibisharing me. I'm very, 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 very honored to be here. There's a saying: when you stand by yourself, you don't see far, but when you stand at the shoulders of those who've gone before you, you see farther. And so, Radiant Bridges for me is where I see myself. God giving me the years, in a few years time, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity, and thank you for creating this group. I think it's much needed to be able to navigate these stages of life as we go through it. So, as Margaret has said, my name is Mercy Kamala. I am a mother, a wife, a sister, a daughter, and I live actually. When you said that you met in Kikuyu, I actually live very near Kikuyu, so I was very excited to hear that because I know hopefully one day I will see you in person. And I started uh, this angle of looking at supporting women to start their online presence, women who are 40 years and above. So my target is Gen X and above. Gen X, baby boomers or seniors and above, to find a way of getting online and just sharing your expertise and skills and knowledge online. Because as we grow older, there's so much that we have learned, that we've gotten to know about life generally, and even your experiences, whether you are working, whether you're in employment, whether you're running a business, whether you are raising a family. There's a lot of experiences that you have. When I say you, I mean the seniors in the group, that oftentimes just disappears, and we are much better for it to know and learn from you how to navigate that stage when we get to it. So I'm 48, and I know I'm getting there. God willing, I'm going to get there. But I'm very, very grateful, even so far, having lived my life. So once again, I'm really, really grateful to Margaret, and of course to Grant for making me connect with Radiant Bridges. I'm very, very grateful for that. I'm going to see if I can make the connection with my presentation. Okay. I seem to be on a different page. Okay. So here we go. So the title of my presentation is Navigating the Digital World as a Senior Citizen. And this can apply to, I believe, anyone. I was being asked, what does senior mean? What does senior mean? And I think it's different, but generally anyone 55, 60 and above. Maybe Margaret, you can correct me on that. But it's definitely those who are technically out of the employment, like now I say in quotes, employment bracket, because there's always bans in different countries about how old you should be when you retire. So what you're going to talk about is why is the digital world worth exploring for seniors? And then there's this phrase, what's that you have in your hands? And we're going to see what that means. And then the challenges in this journey. And then we're going to look at, have an overview of the digital space and sales and key takeaways. Um, Before I introduce myself, I think the biggest thing for me, even with this presentation, is going to be about mindset. So I run businesses, but I think the biggest thing that we need to deal with is how we look at the digital space at this particular age, because I've found in the short time that I've been running my business that there's a mental block as far as going online for those either like me, my peers, Gen X, 45, 40, 45 and above, and even baby boomers. Those who've already been communicating, let's say using, because many of us, even we use WhatsApp, we can get online. We've known how to get online. But when we think about going online for other purposes besides personal reasons, there's a mental block and a challenge in that area. So put that in mind as we go through this discussion. So as I said earlier, I'm a wife, a mother, and a business owner, and I own the Meruti Group, which is the umbrella for Meruti Home, where we sell home goods and decor with a rustic and a farmhouse kind of style. I also own Meruti Tall Style, which is a brand that caters to women, tall women who are 5'8" and above, because I am that height and I had struggles finding clothes that would fit me. So I decided to find or provide a solution for that challenge. And more recently, I started the In Class with Meruti brand. In Class with Meruti exists to support women who are 40 and above get online and sell their products on Instagram. I'm mainly on Instagram with that. And so that's the journey that I've been on, which allowed me to have a slight understanding about this particular age group and those who are older than us as to where the challenge lies. Even though as we shall see, there's so much, there's actually quite a lot that you can actually glean and learn from when you're much older. So we've been in operation for the last 6 years, and like I said earlier, this is what my specialization is: home goods and decor, and clothes for tall women. Our shop is actually here in Dogoto, so if you're ever in the Dogoto Gikambura Road, give us a call and we shall be able to direct you. So my background is I worked in the humanitarian emergency space as a nutritionist, as an emergency nutritionist for over 17 years. And I worked in the northern parts of Kenya. So in Kenya, I worked in Turkana, Marakwet, Keyo. And then I went into South Sudan. And then I went into Somaliland. And all through, the goal was just to try as much as possible to alleviate the effects of malnutrition. My target audience were children less than 5 years old and pregnant women, because these are the most vulnerable in the community. Whenever there's problems, whenever there's war, whenever there's conflict, whenever there's drought, these are the ones who get hit most easily. And so that is who I targeted. And by God's grace, we were able to save lives literally, because a lot of them were really, really badly off. And it has been it had a very profound effect on my purpose, my life, how I do what I do, and just living life day by day, being grateful for the opportunity to make a difference in people's lives. It didn't matter. It didn't matter that I did not know the culture, I did not know the language, but we all understood the language of being alive and making sure that we could save as many lives as possible. That's me in Somalia, in the Dera, and that's me in South Sudan in my little tent. That was my room for many, many years. And this is where how we used to distribute our food using these huge planes that would bring the supplies. So my why did I start providing support to women starting businesses in mid and later on in life? When I started my businesses, let me say my business, my routine. I had just had my son, yes, 2017, and I knew that I wanted to go into business, albeit for a period just to understand this area that I was very interested in. And I realized for myself at that age that there were certain things or certain ways that I wanted to learn certain aspects. And a lot of things were flying over my head. There was so much to dive into. There was so much to dive into. And I have to admit, it was a bit overwhelming. And with time, I got to understand what I needed to do, when, how, which apps, uh, what kind of information I need to share. And all this was being done online. I had no idea that I'd get a physical shop, but I went online because it had the lowest barrier to entry. It was the easiest way to sell or to have my business running without, having to put in too much money. But the information that I needed to make that happen was really, I think I was like a, what do you call it, a sheep out in the wild seas, just going chasing after each and every idea, and there's a lot of ideas. And then finally, I figured it out my way, and I started my business. And then I started getting questions from my peers, my colleagues, my age mates. How did you do it? How did you do what you do? How did you start? You mean you even started the business? You went online. You are online. So such questions. And to me, I realized that first and foremost, it starts with your own mind. Like, can I actually do this? And I think at that time, I had left employment. My son was maybe just about 1 year, and I just wanted something different from what I had known for a very, very, very long time. So I guess I had that motivation to pursue this new crazy weird thing, weird for me anyway. Um, and I realized it didn't come that easy for many people. And often the biggest challenge was the fear of what will they what will they think about me, whoever they is. They will laugh at me, I will fail. How do I do it in the first place? And thank you, Grant, for sharing the poll we had in the, I'm just looking at the WhatsApp, because I wanted to understand, for those of us who are online, want to go online, what do you think are the challenges that you would have when you want to go online, whether in a personal sense or even business, but more so business, because this is the focus of what I talk about. So my goal is to help you leverage your life experiences and passions to succeed in the digital space. And I always say, before we even talk about success, which is might be a long-term thing, I always say just start, because I think once you start, there's a snowball effect of the, things aligning. You'll be surprised, or you'll find out all about this talk somewhere, and it picks your mind, and you go for it, and you get a connection. When you start, you'll discover, oh, this is how you can accept payments. It's probably easier. A customer will come to you and tell you, oh, actually, it's better for you to do ABCD, ABC. So starting is usually the hardest part, but it's very necessary. You have to start so that you can see how it's going to be further down the road. And very, very important is a mindset shift. Even with your fears, there's a phrase of doing it scared. Even with your fears and concerns, as if you have it in your heart that you want to be online, then go ahead, and get your mindset ready to handle and tackle what's going to come. So, like I said earlier, we're going to look at this from a mindset perspective, but also looking at it in a business sense, because obviously there's some who want to be online, but not necessarily for business purposes or entrepreneurship. Maybe you're online for creating a foundation, or you're besides personal. Maybe you're online because you want to share information, just to share information, but look at this with a leaning towards entrepreneurship or business. Agatha said that she sells chicken, and she already sells, some of her products through the digital space, and that's great because that's one of the easier things to easier channels to use to sell your items or your ideas or products. So forgive the next slides are going to have a lot of writing, but I figured I would put the information here so that when this presentation is shared, you have access to. You can already see, what we were thinking through when I was putting down this information. So it has a lot of information, but it's on purpose so that you already have it, and you don't have to wonder, okay, what did she say when she was presenting. So the digital world is worth exploring for seniors because of, obviously, the biggest issue is flexibility. The fact that we have phones and gadgets that you can just get online and do 101 different things is such a blessing, is such I think sometimes I think it's a miracle that you can do these things. Because when you think about how life was before the phones arrived, I think we can't even believe we were doing things the way we were doing. But the digital space allows you to be flexible. And I put there in brackets, if it's managed right, you can have a work-life balance. I say that because sometimes it can be, you can go down a rabbit hole and you find yourself just going deeper and deeper and deeper into something. You use the phone so much you forget to do, or you're unable to do other things that need to be done in your life. So what's key also is you trying to, as much as possible, have discipline around it. The digital space also allows us to leverage our experiences, skills, and passions to create unique offers. I keep saying that in another era, maybe in the 40s or 50s, what used to be used to retain and contain information was storytelling, and that is a dying art, because we would all hear stories of, oh, you're sitting around your grandparents' feet and listening to their tales of back in the day. Very few of us have that opportunity or time, or even those older people are not there anymore. And so if we are able to use the digital space with the digital space as seniors to sort of replace that storytelling ability, but put it in the digital space, then this will live longer. It will live longer than you could possibly imagine. And it's an opportunity for you to share what you know, what you went through, the things that you're passionate about, Like, I believe it's Alice. Alice is a tour guide. So she can be able to share, about the places she's visited, or about different parts of the country that she's been able to visit and go to, and share that with her friends via the digital space. And that connects to the flexibility point above, because she's in let me talk my best, maybe she's here in Dogoto, Kikuyu, but she can share that information with someone who is in Mombasa, where before it would have been very hard to physically, not hard, it would have taken time to be able to physically meet and just tell the person exactly the same information she has, and she can do that by a phone. It's versatile. It can take many forms via books, courses, software, music. They're very low overhead costs for platform use. For the most part, the biggest thing, like, I think the easiest, is getting a phone in the first place and getting maybe Wi-Fi. But getting online onto WhatsApp or Instagram or Facebook is free. So it's the costs are low compared to if you were to have a traditional way of doing your business or marketing or having a shop. The costs are lower, so it works very well for seniors. You can just sit with your phone and you're just going through information that is already available. There's an opportunity to build passive income. If you, I'll use Alice if you don't mind. If Alice creates a book about how to prepare for a trip to, I don't know, Mombasa, let's say, a little booklet, an ebook, and decides to put it online, or her experiences as a tour guide and puts it as a book, and she puts it online to sell. That is an opportunity for her to build passive income. She's already done the hard work of writing or preparing the book. So from that point on, all she has to do is put it in a way or a place that people can be able to access it and pay for it, and she gets some income, which will help us and will help us, as we also manage our finances in this stage in life. It's possible to scale digital products. You can sell to one person or you can sell to 100 people just by telling them, here is my link in a group. Let's say in a group, maybe you went for a meeting, or even here I'm in a meeting. I'll tell you about my course and say, okay, there's this course. It's much more effective to sell that to more people than if I was just meeting one-on-one with one person. And even not just here in Kenya, but you'll be able to reach people who are in different parts of the world. It's mind-blowing how far, how wide you can reach in the digital space. And that's why I was saying I think sometimes even a miracle. We are so into it. I don't know if we personally fully understand what it means to be able to reach out to somebody in, I don't know, Jamaica with information from here. Maybe someone wants to know about Kenya or Mount Kenya or the wild animals, and I can reach to them. Now, Alice again can send them that book about places in Kenya that are worth visiting, and the person can start dreaming and imagining what it is like to see the wild animals in Kenya. There's been a growth of e-commerce. E-commerce is online commerce. Just the E. And there are more people shopping online now than ever before. COVID, it is said, I think I read a study somewhere, COVID catalyzed the speed with which people got online to buy and sell goods, by like almost 20%. Like we were at a certain small percentage. And then when COVID happened, it just shot up. It shot up because it was necessary. We were not going out, but we still needed to communicate, do life, buy food, buy clothes, live. And so it was a pandemic, but also with it came an opportunity for growth of e-commerce. And we have an opportunity to plug into that growth and use it and leverage it for ourselves. There are accessible marketing tools, and Grant would even be able to speak more on this. But again, there's little investment on it. And with that, it's cheaper to market online than using traditional marketing methods. I don't know what the price of a billboard is now, but I remember even back then, before, when I first heard about it, oh my goodness, it was crazy to imagine, having the billboard up for even a month or something, the hundreds of thousands of shillings that it takes to have that billboard up. And yet with online tools, like I said, all you need is Wi-Fi. And you can be able to market and tell people about your what it is you want to talk about, either your business or your course or some educational information that you want to share. There are also lifelong learning and growth opportunities. Things like LinkedIn and platforms that are not LinkedIn, sorry, I forget the name, Coursera and Coursera. Those are platforms that have been specifically built for learning, and it allows people to learn for as long as they want to, whichever kind of tutor that they want to learn. And you'd be surprised the different interesting topics that are there that you can learn and master new technologies. So this is an opportunity that you can use even as seniors to get into the digital space and just learn as much as we can. And this last point is also connected with what Radiant Bridges, Margaret was saying about Radiant Bridges, because even as you're managing your pension, it will be an opportunity for you to add something small extra to that which you already have that you're already managing, and it gives you, accomplishment and a sense of purpose. So, having said all that, what's that you have in your hands? What do I mean by this? This is those things that you have innately within you, things that you have built up over the years. If you were in employment, the experiences that you had, whether working with your colleagues, whether in your particular line of work. I mentioned that I worked as an emergency nutritionist. So the things that I did that I have realized I'm actually using now. I did a lot of training because we had to train communities, mothers, caretakers, caregivers, to to learn what foods were best for their children in that particular context, um, so that we avert and prevent the situations that we found ourselves in. And this is only what they could control, because there were bigger issues like the wars and the fighting. They could control that. But what they could control was what was going into their children's mouths. And so we were there to give them medicine and food, but they also had in their own little way whatever food they had in their home. So we were training them how to prepare that food, because there was issues of sanitation. You're in a situation where there's no water, so I cannot even talk to you about cooking food if you cannot, even your hands are not clean. And if your hands are not clean, then here becomes diseases or malaria, things like that. So I trained a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. And because of that training, I was able to have the confidence I had to transfer that same skill into my business. So in my business, I do what I call live sessions where I talk about my products every Thursday, and I started doing it during COVID times. And every Thursday I do that. I'll go live and I'll talk about, this is a phone. It's about 13 centimeters long. It has a wide screen, and when you hold it like this, it has a camera at the back. I would literally talk about the products that I'm selling, so that even if I'm online, the information that I give you will enable you to make a buying decision. So I use those skills, and besides having those skills, it was the confidence that I had that I could do that because I had been training for very, very many years. The other thing that I realized that I make use of is my experience in managing logistics. So we had, at any given time, we would be feeding maybe 3,000, 4,000 children every week. Was it every week? Yes, every week, because every day, no. Yeah, every week, 3,000, 4,000 children every week. So every day we'd have around 800, 900 children. Managing the logistics of providing the food, the equipment, the staff teams of like 40, 50 people. It seemed, at the time it was because it was my job, but right now I'm using that same skill and knowledge to manage my business in a smaller way. But it's things that I have in my head to think, oh, I need to plan ahead for this stock to come in so that I have stock for this period, which is currently what we are doing also for Christmas. So the skills and knowledge that you have in the earlier part of your life, that you can use right now as you consider or contemplate getting into the digital space. And that's why I'm asking, what's that you have in your hands? It's not your maybe it's your literal hands, but it's connected with the Bible, and where God was asking Moses, what do you have in your hands and stuff. And it's also about what you have in your person, in your mind, your brain, physically. So we're looking at the attributes that senior women bring to the table that they'll be able to use in the digital space. So I mentioned here extensive life experience. You have broad perspectives on life generally, even how to manage people. I think the older generation just know how to read personalities better than younger people. I could be wrong, but no, I have seen it. I've seen it, and that's because of you've lived life and you've gained deeper insights on how to understand or read people. You have a strong work ethic, and they have said many women over 50 have a history of balancing careers, family responsibilities, which makes them resilient, disciplined, and dedicated. You're basically running a corporation. It might not be called that because it's a family, but that's actually what it is, because you're balancing so many things and trying to juggle so many balls, and you actually make it happen. And even now in your latter years as a senior, you can sit back and relax a bit, because you put in the work those years ago, and this is something that you have that you can easily translate or transfer to someone else, and the information will be able to help them. And I think we are fortunate to have the opportunity to be able to reach out, like, to those like Margaret and others who offer themselves to share this information with younger people. And thank you, Margaret, for Radiant Bridges, because now, it's an opportunity for us younger ones to, cross that bridge and reach out to you on the other side to seek your how you understand how we live life day by day. And you also have emotional intelligence and people skills that you have honed in over the years, how to communicate, how to understand people, how to connect with people. That shouldn't be taken for granted. You have problem solving abilities, again, from if you have a family, if you're able to have a family, or even you're part of a family, then you are able to, how to deal with challenges and finding solutions to the same, and being able to just overcome obstacles that will, because it's life, these things do happen, do take place. You have financial management skills connected with running the families. You have a long-term perspective, unlike younger entrepreneurs who may be focusing on quick wins. Women over 50 often take a more patient, sustainable approach to business growth with a very strong nini on patience, because you definitely need a lot of patience to run a business. And if you've done your research and you know in your spirit, in your heart, that this is what you want to do, then even when you have the ups and downs, that is typical with running a business, then you can stay the course. You can stay the course to be able to see your vision come to life, and even keep going, and even potentially go beyond you when the younger people come behind you to actually take over. And of course, you have a very mature sense of making decisions. You don't just jump to decisions. There's a level of wisdom you bring to situations, and this helps you in carrying out the right kinds of business decisions. When you make decisions in business, you definitely need to be mature about it. You can't just be flippant or be carried away by a wave. No matter how good it is, and having this level of maturity can only have come from the years of life you have lived. Um, some of you also have professional networks that are probably well established, or even the other day I was in a meeting, and this lady was speaking. She's the CEO of a particular board in a national board, and her friend is the head of a group of schools, and these two were in primary school together, and they are in their 60s, as in they've known each other all this time. And so you can imagine what kind of relation, what kind of gift that is, to have that, and to be able to call it onto each other to help out or to chip in for ideas. Because the one who was the CEO was invited to speak at the school where this one owns, at the school that this other one owns. And so you can leverage your networks, personal and professional networks, and this will help you in growing your business and even getting partnerships for the same. In leadership and mentorship, that is an amazing thing. It goes without saying that at that age, you even by default you're placed at a certain level, as you should be, because you've earned the years, you've earned it, you've earned the stars. You're placed at a certain level where others look up to you for leadership and mentorship. And so, having lived life and experienced life, as it were, to this point, you're able to bring strong leadership and mentorship skills to others who need it. We desperately need so many mentors, no matter, I think, no matter the age. You actually need people who can actually lead you and hold your hand and tell you, this is the way, go like this, don't go like this, because if you go like this and this will happen. But I have experience, and I know that if you do it this way, then this will actually benefit you. And another thing that sometimes we overlook is your adaptability to change. So as a senior, you've lived through many phases and changes. I was talking about us not knowing what life was before we had the mobile phones. But even before the mobile phones, there was, you know, what are they called, landlines. When landlines came, I'm sure it was just another mind-blowing thing. When televisions came, that was also another mind-blowing thing. I'm trying to look at people in the 60s now, like when, you know, what they went through. So you were born in the 60s or the 50s, and so you've seen a lot of changes in the leadership of this country. You've seen it all. In technology, in culture, you know, how things are done, how we live as a people. You've seen it all, but through it all, you've been able to adapt to those changes. Those changes did not bring you down, did not quote unquote kill you, but instead you adapted and you evolved into them. And so now, even though there's new things that you're learning, like now the digital space, that ability to adapt to change is something that you have that will allow you to adapt to navigating the digital space. A classic example, my mother. The day I realized, oh wow, my mother is in her 70s, and I think the day I realized, you know, I probably don't give her credit, was the day she joined Facebook. She joined Facebook, and it was so profound for me to see a message from her, or to see her profile on Facebook, which she has just written down very nicely. And I see her, what do you call it, communicating with other people. And she uses Facebook
Sasa ni vita wanataka
to
kupigana.
touch base with her friends, or the children of her friends, children maybe now who we grew up with, so their parents, touching base with them, congratulating them on their milestones. And you see, I did not give her credit, thinking, oh, I'm thinking Facebook is a hard thing to crack. No, no, no. She got on, and she got on, and that is a testament to her ability to adapt to change. A new thing comes, and she's curious about it. She gets into it, and she learns, and she grows. And I think it's really been a good avenue for her to keep in touch with other people. Um, because of if you had families, if you have a family, you had families, because of running and managing and meeting the needs of your families, then your family members, children or spouses, were your customers, so to speak. As well as maybe even if you were in employment or even running businesses before. So this, you tend to have a strong focus on understanding and meeting the needs of others. And as mothers, that is always the case. We always told, we always put in the needs of others first before our own. So this, it almost seems to come second nature, that you're customer centric. And this is also a good thing to take into business, and don't take that for granted. Not many people have that ability. Another thing that you have in your hand is your time management and prioritization, connecting to just years of experience with either managing your family or your business or your jobs. You have this down pat. You have experience in conflict resolution, as we also mentioned earlier, because you have a way of understanding situations that is very mature and uniquely so for this age, that is very different for a younger age, that is, what's the word, uh, jumpy here and there, and very emotional, let's say. But you approach things with a very sober mind and very mature ability, and that's something that needs to be appreciated, even as you consider going into the digital space, because the digital space can make you jump up and down with what is in the digital space. Let me not lie to you, because there's a lot in the digital space, but your ability to gauge and calculate and see what is safe, what is right, what is okay, what is true, that will help you as you get into the digital space. Your ability to self-motivate. When, for example, you've gone through difficult times or challenging times, or situations that maybe you could not control, and you wish they would have been different, for you to come out of it, you need to pull yourself together and rise above it. And many times, and I have one child, but I can only imagine, again, my mother, who was 6, how she managed to always be able to have a smile in spite, generally, what life may have been at the time. I can only imagine that, because I have one child. but it must have been a lot, and she must have, as I'm sure you also have, must have reached deep within herself to motivate herself and to persevere through situations, knowing that hopefully, God being on her side, that things will turn out better or differently. And that is something that you can also take into your journey of entrepreneurship. And at this age, you also have a well defined sense of purpose. So you're clear about what you want to achieve. You're more focused on aligning your business to your passions and your values, and you know what you don't want. For me, that's a key thing that I've learned in my life at this stage in my life. I know what I do not want. You know that phase of I know what I want, I know what I don't want, and that just takes care, removes any other unnecessary things, so that I can concentrate on what is valuable and important to me. So in this journey of getting on the online space, there are obviously challenges, and I'll just broadly talk about them, put them in three broad categories. There's a learning curve. There's a learning curve for sure, in getting into the digital space. But like I said earlier, your ability to change and adapt to changes is a very strong characteristic that you can actually take into entrepreneurship or being in the online space. Having to familiarize yourself with new technologies, marketing strategies, e-commerce platforms. There's a learning curve. These things that you will have to learn to feel that you're comfortable, and maybe even you'll never feel that you're comfortable, but you're still learning. I am also still learning. The reason I even called my that branch of my business In Class with Meruti is because I am in class learning, as you are also in class learning, and I'm sharing with you what I know about running an online business, but I'm also learning. And so I think it's the rallying call to never stop learning, even though the learning curve might be steep for others. Find a way of getting this information online. There are courses, there are tutorials, there are support communities. Even here with Radiant Bridges, the opportunity every month there's a learning session, a learning opportunity like this one. I think when you allow yourself to think this way, then it's an opportunity for you to definitely grow. The next point is consistency. Oh, sorry, consistency in marketing. You need to consistently market your digital yourself, either your business or otherwise, and that's also part of the learning curve. Excuse me, I think my battery is down. Sorry about that. So consistency in marketing is important, and it's worth accepting. Let me say accepting, because where we are going in life, the digital space is just going to keep growing more and more and more and more. And so it's a skill that it would be great for you to have in your arsenal, in your bag of how to market yourself and how to grow your business. And again, it's a learning curve. Number three is competition. One of the biggest things I think in business that people grapple with is, so now if I bring this phone and then my next door neighbor also brings the same phone, how are we going to manage? And this is an inevitable part of business, an inevitable part of being online. You cannot escape it. But for seniors, you can differentiate yourself by leveraging what you know, your experience. I've learned in my business that people buy from people, not necessarily the product. So how I sell that product is how that person will make the decision to buy. And so, like I said earlier, I do live sessions every Thursday, and many people will come and tell me, "Yeah, I saw your live. I saw your live. I saw your live." And someone will say, "Oh, they probably saw it like 10 times and they didn't buy." And then finally, they made the decision to buy because they felt they knew who they are buying from, which is something that you cannot replicate with another person because it's about you. You're the one who creates um, that space in your own uniqueness. And so make it personal, let people know you, let people get to go beyond the surface of who you are, what you do, or even what you sell. And you'll be surprised the relationships and the fringe benefits that come from opening yourself up to that. So I'm just going to touch very briefly on digital sales and online business because it's quite uh, a diverse topic, but I'll touch briefly on it because we're talking about the digital space, and I'll later on mention some resources that are available. So there are some inspiring stories about women over 50 who successfully started their online businesses while they were over 50, or the success came when they were in their above 50s. This is Sarah Blakely. Oh, it doesn't look very clear. Sarah Blakely is the creator of, or the owner, the CEO of a company called Spanx. Spanx make innerwear, which is very comfortable and very effective in just giving a good shape, but also allowing women to be confident with the clothes that they wear. She started when she was 43, but success came at the age of 50, and it's still growing in a very, very, very big way in the US. Another person is Jale Bisharat. She started a cosmetics, a beauty company called Naked Poppy in her 50s. Her previous experience was she worked with Upwork, which is a company that provides platforms for people to sell their skills and knowledge. At one point, she was in Amazon.
Margaret, you can ask the question. I see you've raised your hand before she gets back. Hi, Margaret, you can unmute, then ask the question. You can unmute, then ask the question.
Do Mercy have some slides? We are not seeing the slides.
Oh, okay.
Mercy, do you have slides?
Okay, let
My apologies. My computer went off.
Okay, fine. It's all right. We'll follow later.
I'll send the slides, but I'd come more or less to the end. My apologies. My sincere apologies. Again, digital.
Okay, yeah.
Marcy, are the slides in your device so you can share the screen?
Working, I think.
Okay, now it's coming back on. Okay, good. It's coming. It will take some time. Oh no, they're not in my device. They're in the computer, but it's okay. I'll try and I'll put it on. I'll see how it can get going. So I was talking about the lady who owns a business called Naked Poppy, and she created a beauty business, and she used to work with Amazon. She worked with Upwork. She worked with many of these really, really big organizations, and now she created what do you call it, a business where she's making cosmetics for women her age. She's now in her 60s, but she's still a very sought after speaker to be able to speak on what it means to run a business. I've tried to come on. Can you see the presentation? I hope so. Grant, is it online?
No, you haven't shared.
Oh, okay. 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 Sorry, I apologize for that. Um,
Mercy, your mic is off, but you can share with me the document in my WhatsApp so that I can share it on the screen wherever you want to reference from. Mercy, your mic is muted.
And now, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's okay. You can
Okay,
proceed.
super, great. Okay. So the next person that I was going to talk about is called Trini Woodall. Trini was she was about to lose her house. She was about to lose her house, and there was other personal issues that she was going through at 50. And at 50, she started a business, showing people how to dress, showing people how to dress, and it's been very successful because she's been able to reach a target market that identifies with her. Does anyone know who this is? If you know who this is, you can unmute and just say who you think it is. Does anyone know who this is? Grant, you can tell me if anyone has typed anything. Okay, this is Martha Stewart, also a very famous lady. She started a catering business in the 70s. And then when she was 53, she started the brand Martha Stewart Living. And that has had exponential growth. Now, bear in mind, she also spent some time in jail a few years ago. But the fact is, she really grew her brand when she was in her 50s and above. And I think the U.S. Department of Commerce, State Department of Commerce, says people who have businesses in their 50s, 55 and above, are the majority of those whose businesses are quite successful. So there's something to be said for that age group, something to be said for being able to run businesses. And given what I already spoke about earlier about what you have in your hands, is abilities and skills that can only be gotten because of your age. So in entrepreneurship, your age is an asset, not a barrier. And I just give a short overview of digital sales and opportunities. Digital sales is selling products, services, or digital goods online. And the platforms include e-commerce sites, social media like Instagram or Facebook, even WhatsApp, and also marketplaces like something that's called Etsy, or in our case, what would we say, like Jumia, I think locally you could say that. So it's important for you to choose a product to sell based on your interests and skills and what you have researched as a need in the market. And that is something that will push you as you grow your business. These are examples of items that can be sold on the digital space. If I talk about something like printables or planners, if you run a business, for example, as a wedding planner, for example, you can create a guide that walks prospective brides to be on how to plan their wedding, because there's so much that is involved in planning your wedding. And so I'm sure some people will be able to find it very, very helpful that there's a guide or something that they'll be able to use to show them what to do step by step as they're planning their wedding. So that's what the printables are, or even planners on meal plans. Let's say maybe you have an idea or some understanding of how to prepare certain traditional foods. Like I said earlier, that's information that we do not have. We no longer have it at the feet of our grandparents, but you seniors, those who are before us, have it here. And I was even seeing in our chats a lot of information about certain herbs and vegetables from the last discussion that was had. That is information that is not easily available in the younger age group. So if someone is able to put that in a printable, in a a document and sell it, it will definitely come in handy for those who are interested in it, because I know also more and more people are going back to a healthier lifestyle and a healthier way of living, and they would want to incorporate healthier options for their diets. And the tools and platforms for digital sales are, like I said, Etsy, Facebook Marketplace, Shopify. You can also download tools that you can use to make a customer go through a customer journey, yeah, either on your website or even using apps. And the basic requirement is just signing up to that platform, or if you want to create a website. I'm not going to delve into this very much because it's quite deep, and I think for me it was more important to talk about this. God willing, we'll be able to delve into it much more in future. So the key takeaways, as I come towards the end, is just to embrace lifelong learning. You're never too old, and that, for me, that's the most exciting bit. Like, don't think. I tell my peers we are in our 40s because we are called the sandwich generation. We are taking care of our parents and other older generation, but we are also taking care of young ones if we have children. So we are the sandwich generation, Gen Xers. It's an interesting generation. And so at this stage, you're grappling maybe with your career and wondering how long will I keep working if you're employed, or how long will I keep doing what I'm doing. But to remember, you're never too old to learn new things. And even in your 50s and your 60s, you can adapt. Like I said earlier, this age group, it has been very adaptive to different changes that you've experienced. Leverage your experience. Please know that there are many people who will want to learn from you. Start small and be patient. And patience is something that you have because of having lived your lives in the way that you have. Stay true to your why. Ask yourself, why do you want to do what you want to do? If it's somebody who has experience in farming, and now he wants to get as much information out there to make more people to know how to grow, I don't know, like amaranth. Your why is because you want people to live healthy lives, because you maybe used amaranth in your diet, and you saw a change in your physical attributes and your health improved. Celebrate progress. Celebrate your progress. Every milestone, big or small, is worth celebrating. There's a milestone we experienced the other day, and I was so excited about it because I never thought that we would see it, and it was just as little as a particular lady coming into the shop and just giving us her story of how she ran her business and how she liked that we were able to do what we do, meeting the needs of 12 women. So that was a big message for me, because somebody actually came in and said, you're doing the right thing. I wish this was there when I was, I needed this assistance. So celebrate your milestones, big or small. It's worth celebrating, and that is what will keep you motivated. And as a parting shot, when you start your business or start going online at 50 or beyond, it's not just about building a venture. It's showing yourself and the world that it's never too late to dream, to take action, and to potentially succeed. And remember, your experiences are your greatest assets. Greatest assets. I cannot stress that enough. It's no one has experienced life the way you've experienced it in the exactly the same way. And so for that reason, you're able to approach situations in a very unique way pertinent to you. Now, if you were to share that truth to another person who is probably going through the same thing, might not be exactly the same, but you providing the information to that person who is going through, it really does help whoever is coming behind you, and they're able to navigate that same challenge or issue in their life. And it's because of your experiences. So believe in your ability to create and thrive in the digital space. Don't shy away from it, even though I know one of the issues that we may actually grapple with is fear that it might not work. But look at it as an opportunity to learn something new. Look at it as an opportunity to add an extra thing to your list of achievements, and also to meet new people, to experience new challenges, and to approach those challenges with the same experiences that you've had when you are going through life. For example, I told you about my mother and her being on Facebook. Do you know the fastest growing age group on Facebook is you seniors? You're the fastest growing age group on Facebook. And why? Because you're learning things, you're actually testing and trying all these elements within that platform, and you're also learning and knowing about each other. And so you want to be online to keep in touch. Unfortunately, we've become very introverted as a society. We no longer, get out to find out about each other. But this age group, the seniors, 50s, 60s, you're the first, and 70s, you're the fastest growing user base on Facebook. So use that as an opportunity for you to get online and start your online business, if that is something you want to do, or your online information sharing platform, if that's what you want to do, or your online educational sessions, right? Because you're already tapping into a group that is ready to learn, to learn from you. So you're not just starting a business; you're starting a journey to personal and perhaps even financial empowerment. So go out there, take the leap, and make it happen by all means. I've come to the end. I'll take any questions. Let me see if Margaret. Yeah, I've come to the end of the presentation, and thank you so much for your time. Any questions?
Do we have anyone with any questions? You can just raise your hand. I see Alice Kamau. Alice Kamau, you can unmute, then ask the question.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
All right. Now, my question is, can you help someone to start a platform? Can you assist someone to start a platform?
Yes. Thank you for that. I'd actually realized I didn't mention it. So I actually have a course that I created for starting on Instagram. I call it the Instagram 101 course. And I find Instagram is an easier platform to get onto because of the visual nature of the platform. If that is connected to how your business is, and I think, Alice, you're the one who's the tour guide, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. So your business is very visual, and Instagram, I find Instagram and Facebook, Instagram is under the same
Yeah.
company. It's an easier platform to get started with, and I do have a course, and I do provide support on the same. So if you're interested, I would be very happy to guide you on that.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Any other question? Anyone from the question You just raise your hand, I'll see. Yeah, Margaret, I see you have a question. Margaret, you have a question? You can unmute your mic.
Mercy, I'm asking now within our country or within Nairobi, do you have somebody you can say she has done some business, senior one, and like you are referring to the other world?
That's a very good question. It goes back to what I was saying earlier. There's a lot of information out there about what people are doing, the amazing things that people are doing, but we are not shouting about it from the rooftops. And when I was doing this research, so a lot of this information is found in the US State Department. Okay, you can find it online. You go online when you research women successful over 50 in business, but you don't find. I can't Google and find it online, but I can assure you, I'm looking. I'm definitely looking. I'm definitely looking. I think one of the other things that I need or we need to appreciate is success looks very different for different people. There's being successful, the monetary sense, obviously, because you're doing business, but there's also, I think, success is being defined differently by different people. But to answer you, I am still looking. I know they're there. I know they're there. There's okay, let me say like Wandia of Vivo, who started the Vivo, who has the Vivo business. She's in her 50s now. There's gosh, I forget the names are just disappearing from my head right now, but they are there. What I'll do is make a compilation, and even for myself, just look at this as a group of people to look up to. Yeah, thank you for that.
Uh, any other question from anyone? You can just raise your hand. Oh,
Okay, another follow-up question, Mercy, is about the your learning document, the learning, the startup learning. How you can tell us a bit more about it? How does it go? How long does the course take? How much does it cost?
Sure,
Or something, you can tell us something.
sure. Thank you for that. So the course, was it last year? Yes. So when I started getting many questions about how, like Alice, the way Alice has asked, how to do this, how to work with someone on this, I decided to create a course that you can be able to self-pace and take yourself on for about 5 or 6 weeks, and it just contains everything that I know from start to the point of going live and being online, how to start and grow on Instagram, selling your product and or your service. It's called the Instagram 101 course. It's a 5-week self-paced course. It costs 4,000 shillings, but for this group here, we are getting you're going to get 25% off, so it will be 3,000 shillings, and it will be accessible to you for as long as you need to be able to use it. I will also add on 3 recordings of video recording sessions that were done after we launched the course, where I was able to share further details about the course in areas that may have had a gray, maybe someone who's struggling with to understand. And I'm also going to have 3 one-to-one sessions just to touch base with each student or each person who would like to know more about the course. So It's online, and it's about starting and growing on Instagram with your product or your service business. Instagram 101. I will share the link with Grant, and then it can be put on the WhatsApp group later. Yeah.
So, do we have anyone else? Any more questions? Any more questions? Linda, stop.
Oh, maybe one more thing, just for if you haven't answered there was a, what do you call it, a poll that was put on the WhatsApp group, and maybe you're on the webinar. You could answer it, so that also it can give some idea of what more that would be helpful to share with. I'd love to be able to come back and build up on this presentation, or even any other person to build up on this presentation now to go deeper into the digital space. Yeah.
Yeah, so we had a webinar. I think this was the second version of the digital webinar. So if you attended the first one, I think we brought some 3 young ladies who also discussed with us the digital world and everything else that you can do in the digital world. Business being one of them. Apart from that, being someone who is an elderly, social media is also another place where you find joy. It's also a source of joy. And as we have been discussing each and every time, you need to smile more often and create friends. So I know each and every one of you here, being that you have smartphones and you can be able to get to these meetings, you are also creating friends. You're also getting entertained with anything else. You're getting information, be it health-wise. You are getting you're getting a lot of information related to your health, and I think even the activities that Margaret is organizing, such as the previous one for Naivasha, they are just so as important to help you create more friends and do many other things. So maybe we'll have another webinar. The digital world, the digital space in itself is evolving, it is growing. We are having more platforms that are also bringing in new things. Right now, we are having what is called artificial intelligence, which maybe we didn't have 10 years ago, and we are interacting with them daily so that we can also know how to integrate them in our daily lives. So there's a day we met with Margaret. I was showing her the responses of ChatGPT, which is one of the famous artificial intelligence, and she was so amazed how quick it was responding. So sometimes you want to get specific responses, and Google is going to give you too much information. You just need it filtered. You go to the artificial intelligence and ask it. You can ask it even in Kikuyu, and you will get a response. So the digital space is evolving, and I think as we are also getting more time with ourselves, we can also hop into the space. We can start businesses, just like what Margaret is doing. We can start communities, just so many things that we can do. So I think I'll just conclude mine from there. And if there is any other person with any question, I'll hand this over to Margaret to close the meeting.
Thank you, Grant. Maybe this time we give an opportunity to those other who joined later to tell us something And anybody who wants to have a comment on what we have learned, we can give each a minute or so. So maybe we can start. Whoever is ready to say something, introduce yourself if you came late, and then we keep on connecting with each other. Okay, maybe if I can start, what I would want to comment on what Mercy have said, it is a lot, and it is very relevant. It is especially on what we have. Then you can see how rich we are with a lot of information, with a lot of experience, and maybe we are encouraged to keep on looking at our inside, not only looking at what is around us, but also what is in ourselves. She also talked about documenting what you know, writing a book and selling it, and then giving information. And the challenge that we are socials and we are not able to have the children with us to give them the stories. So we need to keep on writing, documenting what we know and sharing it out. Then the other thing what was good to me is to know what we don't want. We always talk about we know what we want and we get what we want, but now we want to look at what is that we don't want and get rid of it. And that is when you get to the digital world, there is a lot of information, and maybe you had a purpose to go to your phone to look for something, and instead of looking for what you wanted, other things come in, and you keep on looking at them, and the day is gone, and you didn't achieve your purpose. So it is impactful that I should always look at what I don't want and get out of it. So if anybody has any comments, let's hear, and then we can, as we go to winding up. Patricia, you want to tell us something?
Hi everyone. Sorry, I came in a bit late. I just wanted to thank Mercy very much. I actually follow her on Instagram for quite a while now, but I've not joined the Instagram 101, which I'll do as soon as she posts the link. Yeah, this is helpful because personally, I think I have clothes which I've not really posted on Instagram, and I think it's about time. And this has been an eye opener, and I'm sure I'm going to step up my game. Thank you so much.
Sala, you want to say something? Greet us. Or Joy, want to start? Okay, fine. If we don't have anybody else who want to give us a story, I'm glad you all joined in. Even those who have left, I'm sure many others would have joined in. We'll keep on encouraging each other, encouraging ourselves that we learn new things. We learn to bring out what we know so that other people can learn from us. We make radiant to be radiant really, and so that we enjoy ourselves, we have fun, and we have peace, and we need to have more laughter. We need to have fun together, and we need to work and work smart. All those small businesses we can do, We'll keep on encouraging each other. We are massive. We are so grateful that you have looked at ourselves and opened the inside of ourselves and led us to look at our inside. I'm sure by the end of a few other days, with this information, we'll see people coming up with a lot of change. I'm also encouraged in whatever we are in, and I have seen much more than what I was seeing. I was maybe want to be smart on my digital performance, so we'll still keep on connecting with you because we want to tap much more. Grant has been working with us. We have Gen Zs working with us, and it feels so nice to have you allowed us, even the small girls. So for next year, Radiant is looking at including more Merino, that we can have a meeting together. We can also have a meeting with Gen Z together, have fun together, and even the young girls, so that we can have fun together and learn to appreciate each other. And the generation gaps, it should not be dividing us. It should be encouraging us to depend on each other. So we would say thank you, and Alice will pray for us. We didn't start there, but Alice will pray for us as we close, and we'll keep on talking to each other on the chat, and we thank God for all this far He has brought us. Karibu Alice.
Asante sana. Yangu ni kushukuru kwa sababu ya hii group ya Radiant na masomo mengi tumesoma kutoka kwa Madam Mercy. Mungu akubariki na kila mmoja wetu. Mungu atuonekanie, awalinde na tupatane siku nyingine, na tuombe. Kwa jina la Baba, la Mwana na Roho Mtakatifu, amina. Asante Baba mwema, sifa na utukufu ni kwako Mungu wetu, kwa ulinzi wako na upendo mwingi uliotupenda nao, twakushukuru. Asante Baba wa neema kwa kunena nasi na kutufundisha yote yaliyotoka kwa watoto wako. Tusema ni asante, tukiomba kwa mipango mizuri Baba wetu ulio nao. Mungu mwema, tunakuomba Roho Mtakatifu akaweza kutusaidia ili Baba tuweze kusaidiana kama watoto wako. Endelea kutupenda na kutuonekania. Tupe wakati mwingine kwa upendo wako Mungu wetu, wakati tutakapoongea tena tukiwa pamoja. Twakushukuru kwa yote, na ni katika jina kuu la Yesu tunaomba na kuamini. Amina. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you.